All right, let's begin. My name is Allison Rendelman, and I'm team lead of the Customer Success Associates here at YCharts. Hosting our webinar today is Rushi Shah of the product team. Today, Rushi is covering our latest product addition, SMA data, also known as separately managed accounts. He's going to walk us through what they are, how you can add them to your YCharts account, as well as a few workflows when it comes to using this new data. Please, if you have any questions during the webinar, you can submit them on the left-hand side of your screen, and we'll follow up soon with the information you're looking for. Do note that the content of this webinar is meant for educational purposes only and is not intended to be used as investment advice, nor are we acting as an advising party regarding client funds in any way. Finally, we'll post a recording of this webinar to the support topics page of YCharts, and a copy will be sent to all attendees. Now I'm going to hand it over to Rushi to get started.
Thanks, Allison, and hello everyone. My name is Rushi Shah, and I am a product manager here at YCharts. We're really excited today to be covering SMA data. It's been a very requested feature and data set that we've wanted to add for a while now, and it's finally here, and we're excited to show it to you, show the capabilities, and show it on YCharts. So I know a lot of faces on this webinar list that are people that have asked for it before, so we're excited to give you a little overview on what we have on the tool. So here's a little agenda to get us started on what we're going to cover today. We're going to start off by just giving a quick overview on what SMAs, or separately managed accounts, are, and who tends to use them, who they're right for, things of that nature. And we're going to move on and talk about research workflows for evaluating SMA data. So all the great things that you've used YCharts for other security sets, we could do a lot of the same for SMA data. So looking forward to showing you some of that. And then lastly, we're going to cover one more use case with comparing SMAs with PDF reports. So excited to show you that aspect of the tool as well. So to jump into just separately managed accounts in general, basically, if you're not familiar with SMAs, they're similar to a mutual fund, and they're a pooled investment vehicle that's managed by a portfolio manager in the same way. So when you buy into an SMA, you own the underlying holdings of the SMA rather than the actual fund. So this gives a few benefits to owning this type of security. Number one, it provides a little bit more flexibility for your fund manager or your advisor and the way they manage the SMA. So once you have those underlying holdings in your account, it provides a little bit more flexibility on what to do with those holdings. There's also some tax benefits because your average cost per share is more based on when you buy into the SMA rather than just the overall tax that you're paying on an actual mutual fund or a different type of fund. And lastly, for you as advisors, when you're talking through a managed SMA strategy, the returns are more about the actual strategy than the underlying holdings. So it's not really a point in time view of the current holdings of the strategy. It's giving you the actual historical holdings, which can be pretty beneficial when having a conversation on returns and risks and things of that nature for an investment. So there's a lot more functionality here for an advisor, for an investor to really handle, and there's a lot more managing that goes with SMA strategies. So they do tend to have a higher initial investment requirement compared to funds. So these strategies are more geared towards someone that has a little bit of investment income or a little bit of pooled money aside that they can invest compared to someone that's just brand new into investing. So that's kind of the quick overview on what an SMA is. Let's just dive right into YCharts and start looking through what we've built on the front end of our tool. All right, so we're here on my YCharts dashboard, and for those of you that are brand new to YCharts tuning into our webinar, this is the page that you're going to see when you log into your account. It's a great place to track your holdings, see what's going on in the markets, and really get a quick overview before you jump into the different tools that we have to offer. The great thing about this dashboard is now you can actually add SMA watch lists. So to do that, you can click on create a new watch list. And then you could click on funds in the drop down and type in a name of a fund to add it to as a watch list on your dashboard. So let's just put an SMA funds in here, and then you could go ahead and type and search for your separate account strategies that you want to cover on your dashboard. So I'll just type in a few here just to show you. And then once I hit save watch list, it's going to go ahead and add that to your dashboard so you can track it, you can view different metrics, and just get a quick overview of those strategies. So that's kind of a great use case just for your dashboard in general. Next, I want to jump into a specific SMA quote page. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this Ziegler Cap small cap SMA, and I want to go over a few things here that are great for you YCharts users. So if you're brand new to the tool, the quote page is a great place to get an overview of a single security. So whether it's a stock, a fund, an SMA, a model portfolio, the quote page is where you're going to get that overview of statistics when it comes to returns, risk, and allocations as well. So for SMA strategies, it's a lot of the same here, right? So you have your key stats here, you have your return stream. I can also add the benchmark if I wanted to. You could scroll down and view basic info, different returns, asset allocations, risk, etc. And there's a lot of information right here. Something great on this key stats module, so you can actually customize this. So let's say instead of max drawdown, you wanted to swap that out for initial investment. Go ahead and hit enter, and you'll see that it pops up here. Maybe I want to drag it to the first one on the top left, hit update. Now I have that minimum initial investment data point right here in front of me. So that's a great way to kind of customize this quote page for your liking. Next, maybe you want to look at some performance statistics. So something to keep in mind about SMAs is the data isn't updated daily because these strategies aren't updated daily from the fund owners. So they actually send our data providers the data points maybe quarterly or monthly, and then that's when it gets updated on our data side. So you can see that this SMA, for example, is as of July 31st, and that's when the returns are as of too. So that's important to keep in mind when you're comparing this to maybe like a benchmark, like right here. So, but you can view that performance as of that date and compare different SMA strategies as well that way. So it's a great way to get an overview of what this strategy looks like and what it's been doing. Some other tabs here that are great, the allocations tab is a really good one to just kind of get an overview of what this SMA strategy is invested into. So you can see this one is pretty much a small cap equity strategy. So you'll see it's pretty much all in stocks. But as you scroll through, you can get a nice sector breakdown here. Also, you could see how much they're invested into small cap. This one's 80%, and get a style exposure here as well. So a lot of useful information here just on the quote page itself. So we've covered the quote page, and I'd recommend taking a look at some of these other tabs we have here, but I'm going to jump into the fund screener where we can start doing some of that idea generation to find strategies that might work for you as an advisor. So I'm going to hover over tools here at the top and click on fund screener. Now, if you're new to YCharts and you don't know what the fund screener is, it's a great tool for your idea generation process and to find funds that match your criteria. So the fund screener is based off of two major buttons to filter down your full list. We have about 77,000 funds in here now. So I'm going to dwindle that down to a lower number based on what I put in these filters. This top modify filter is to change different qualitative characteristics of your screen. and the add filter is more quantitative one. So we're going to start off up here, click on modify, and under types, I'm going to click on separately managed account and hit submit. Now you can see we're down to about our just under 10,000 SMA strategies that we have in YCharts. So I have these strategies. Maybe we are looking for a large blend SMA, so I could click on modify again, and I'm going to go into category name, US fund categories, and click on large blend. Now we're getting into more so just SMA strategy that might be closer to what I'm looking for from a holdings perspective, but I still want to look at a few more things. So maybe I'll add a filter this time, and perhaps you're an advisor that has a client that has around $500,000 to invest, and so you want to look at SMA strategies where maybe that initial investment is anywhere from 100,000 to about $1 million. All right, so once I type that in, you'll see that this this range closes in on that range that we want, and I'm going to hit submit. And we're looking at about 291 funds that match our criteria. So now we have a good list. For the sake of time, I won't continue to dwindle this list down, but you could definitely do that via more filters. Maybe you want to add a scoring model where you can score the SMA strategies and see which ones score the best to look into. I'm just going to take the top couple here and jump into a few workflows. So the next thing I'm going to use, if you haven't heard of our quick flows functionality, it's been a huge hit with our users because of how easy it makes a lot of workflows through the YCharts tool. So right here on the right side, you're going to see the quick flows menu on a lot of our tools. And I'm going to click on comparison because I want to compare the top 3 funds here in this list. So I'm going to take out these securities here, and I'm going to go ahead and type those in. And as you can see, our predictive search here is great. So you could just type in that, maybe that separate account symbol is a little hard to remember, but you could just type in the name and it'll give you that result as well. All right, and looks like we've got our 3 SMA strategies that we want to compare. Now, you can see that as I was typing in those SMAs, the list of quick flows starts changing, and it gives you the ones available that make sense for your analysis here. So I'm going to start off by just clicking performance chart. What this is going to do is it's going to take us from the screener and take us right into the charting tool and give us a performance overview of these 3 strategies. So we're looking here, maybe we want to look at like a 5-year overview, and we're just kind of tracking the investment performance of these different strategies to see which ones might match what we're looking for. You can also add a benchmark here if you just wanted to kind of track how it's performing, how it's done, etc. So I'm just going to add in the S&P 500 total return on there and compare these returns versus that S&P number. So that's pretty useful. Now I'm going to go back into the quick flows, click on comparison, and I'm going to look at historical returns because, you know, if you're an advisor, you're having that conversation with your client and you want to talk to them through not only what this thing has done right now, but what it's done in the past. You can go and take a look at, maybe you want to look at annual returns. So now you can see that it took us right into a new tool, and this is our time series analysis tool. So if you aren't familiar with this one, it's great for historical data in a nice, orderly manner. So you can see we have our historical returns of these strategies. You can also add like summary stats in here. So if I wanted the average of these strategies, I can do that. Maybe you want to compare them that way. You can also export this data into Excel and take a look at the data in that manner. So Lots of great functionality here in the time series. Maybe the next thing you want to have, or the next conversation you want to have, is risk. So you can go back to that comparison menu and click on risk comparison. So this is great because now we're jumping into a whole nother tool, whole nother workflow, and taking a look at different risk metrics for these SMA strategies. Now, a quick thing here, it looks like this Armstrong one doesn't have 5 years of data, so it's not going to populate those 5-year metrics. So I'm just going to go ahead and take that one out. So now we're looking at just 2 of them. We have our risk breakdown. We can analyze these risk metrics and really understand what these SMA strategies have done historically. Lastly, maybe we're down to 2 and we want to look at one a little bit more, and maybe we're interested in this Oak Associates one. So I'm just going to go ahead and look at the single quick flow side. Now, this is more geared towards looking at just one security. So I can go ahead and search Oak Associates, and you'll see that will come up. And then maybe we want to look at what this did during the oil price collapse or the financial crisis. Any of these are just different economic impact quick flows, just to kind of do a scenario analysis of what could have occurred back during a historical notable market movement. So maybe let's just jump into the financial crisis. So perhaps your client's a little concerned about what happened then. This is a great quick flow that says, hey, if you had $10,000 to invest at the beginning of the financial crisis, here's what your investment would have looked like right after that crisis happened. So it's a great risk and drawdown look at your SMA strategy versus a benchmark. So you've had your research done. You could see a lot of the great tools on YCharts are possible with SMAs as well. Maybe the next step is preparing for a meeting or talking to your client and preparing some visuals for your client. So I like that we're on the fundamental charting tool right now, because this is a great place to build visuals for your clients. You could see that you can add titles, a legend. You can also, if you click on chart options, perhaps you have some custom colors that your firm likes to use. You can reach out to your support contact and add those in here, and you can see it builds a nice different view of the chart. And then you can also add your logo here in the bottom left. So maybe you're building a PowerPoint presentation or you're tweeting this chart out. It's nice to brand it with your firm's brand on here, and then it's as easy as exporting that chart out as an image to do whatever you'd like with it. So the fundamental charting tool is great, but I want to jump back into the pool page to look at some PDF reports. So I'm going to look at that same small cap SMA we were looking at earlier, and you can see here in the top right, we have a reports menu. So we spent a lot of time in our product in the last year building out these reports, because we know that it's important for clients to communicate effectively to their clients, right? So advisors need these kinds of reporting tools, and we've had a lot of fun, listening to some feedback and building out these reports for advisors. So we do have 2 categories in here that you can go through. One is overview reports. So this is going to be more so just if you're looking at a single strategy, maybe you want to look at just performance, risk, fundamentals, etc. for just one strategy. You can do that using the overview reports. You can also do a comparison. So maybe you want to look at one SMA strategy versus another one. You could do that right here in the comparison. So I'm going to look at a side-by-side comprehensive overview. Let's find it here. All right, here we go. I'm going to hit start. Now, I'm comparing this strategy. Maybe I want to do small cap versus large cap. All right, and then let's just say we're making this for John, and I'm going to go ahead and hit generate. But before I do, you can see if you have a YCharts account, you can add in your info here with your number, your email, and all that, so it's on the cover page of the report. once I hit generate, it's a quick download into a report. And that'll allow us to compare and contrast these two SMA strategies. All right, so you can see that that PDF report was downloaded here at the bottom. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on it. And that's going to show you this PDF version. Now, this is a pretty long version because it has a lot of information in it. That's great. So I'm just comparing two different strategies. You could go through here, look at return of the two strategies. Maybe you want to look at historical returns of the two and see what's done well here. And as you scroll through, you'll see a lot of the same information on those quote pages, but in a presentation-friendly view. So it's great to have this for any type of client conversation that you're having. You can also see top 10 holdings and kind of view those two strategies against each other to show what's made up of that SMA strategy. Now, next you can kind of scroll through and you'll see we even have definitions. You can put in your custom disclosure. There's a lot you could do here just to make this report ready for your own client conversations. Now, something else that you could do that's great with these SMA strategies is compare a portfolio versus an SMA. So maybe you have a client that's come into your office and they want to go into an SMA portfolio, but they have their model portfolio that they want to kind of pitch to you as their current holdings. So I'm going to click on that reports view again. Maybe you want to just have a conversation of allocations, right? So we do have a side-by-side allocation report. And let's say John came into your office and he has a portfolio here, and you want to compare and contrast a model portfolio to an SMA. You could do that same exact analysis with an SMA versus a model. So that's really useful for your conversations as well. And you'll see it's the same report. So pretty cool how you can do that using the YCharts tool. So that's going to wrap up our SMA presentation on the YCharts tool. I just want to reiterate some of the things that we kind of talked about here and go back into what we kind of went over and the benefits of using SMA data on YCharts. So like we kind of talked about, advisors like the control of using those SMAs as an investment. So it's a great security set to kind of look into. But from a YCharts perspective, it's the same ease of use as researching any other security on the tool. You notice that a lot of the workflows that you might be used to if you're an avid YCharts user, you could do the same with SMA strategies, which is great. If you're new to YCharts, you just saw how easy it is to kind of run through a screening tool, a charting tool, as well as table tools to do your SMA analysis as well. And just to kind of talk about, how to get this data onto your account. Our data is an add-on to your YCharts account price, but it's at a very competitive rate. So you could definitely go to this link here at the bottom and sign up to kind of receive more information, or you can reach out to your support contact to get more information on how you can get this data added to your account. So that's going to wrap things up here. Thanks for listening in. I hope you're as excited as I am to have this SMA data on the tool. So I would love to get you started on checking it out. So I'm going to turn it back over to Allison to finish this off.
Thank you, Rushi, for giving us a tour on our latest product, SMA data, and how we can best fit it into our practice. I also want to thank everyone for attending today's webinar. I'll just reiterate that a recording of this webinar will be sent to all attendees and posted on YCharts in case you need to review anything we talked about today or to share with your colleagues. For any questions that you might have submitted during the presentation, we'll be reaching out soon with the information you're looking for. We always appreciate any feedback that you might have for us. And once again, if you'd like to be contacted about SMA data and how to get this added to your account, please reach out to us at get.ycharts.com/SMA-data. Thanks again.